Biztech Cybersecurity Show. Today, our guest to give us insights on cybersecurity is Sathish Murthy. He's the Systems Engineering Director at Cohesity. Cohesity was founded in 2013 and is headquartered in California. It's a data management company offering solutions that simplify data management, backup recovery, and analytics. Now, with that, welcome to the show, Sathish.
Thank you, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
Now, Sathish, I want to ask you, first of all, front and center, ransomware is on the rise exponentially globally. In Q3 now, 2023 in Asia, what does the situation look like?
Thank you, Brian. It is the top of mind with every C-level executives, Brian. You know, ransomware, the moment I walk into almost every day with some customer, either on an evening or in the morning, in their office and our office. But one thing that common strikes today is ransomware. Every 20 seconds, somewhere on the earth, there is an attack, right? Statistics show in Asia alone, that about an average of 60 to 65% of the companies are getting impacted, right?
That's frightening. That's a huge number.
That is.
However, in some markets, companies are not required to report breaches. Some markets they are. Tell us a little bit about this and how this is playing out into the awareness levels of CIOs.
Oh, that's a good one, right? So if you look at it, Brian, one thing, a well-kept secret in IT is not talking about ransomware, right? Absolutely. A lot of our customers who get impacted also said, hush, hush, don't talk about it. Right. But the challenge is this is one place where IT need to collaborate further and faster. Right. Whether it is regionally or across APAC, what we see is a considerable number of attacks that happens, different kind of attacks. And we'll talk about that later. But if you look at the overall sense, yeah, I don't have to comply. But what is the most valuable treasure in your organization? It is data. If you can protect it, that is fantastic. If you can't, you have a real challenges in your hand.
Okay, and so one of the other things is the following. Again, it varies from market to market in Asia Pacific region. Should I or should I not pay the attacker? And that's a big issue confronting. If you want to keep it quiet, a lot of times the pressure is to just pay them off. But maybe you can walk us through the case for and against paying these attacks.
Fantastic, right? So if you look at, hey, I am an organization. How much is my data valuable? My business is 100 million, 200 million US dollars. I am keen to continue my business. That's why people are there. And now you look at ransomware attack, the whole data center, everything about the organization is down. Now, how much is that data valuable to you? Is it important for your email to be going out? Is it important for your checks to be recorded? Is it important to digitalize? All of these are important. And now that you ask me, what is the worth of it? It may vary from company to company. And one of the most important things, Brian, assuming that I pay the bad guy, right? Given that I pay $1 million, a couple of $1 million that he asked me, how sure are we that if I get the right copy with me back? And how sure am I to go with this data with my thought inside to say, are there any more ransomware inside? Maybe it's not.
And also maybe the data is already compromised and there are more Trojan horses within the data that is being
Exactly.
You.
Exactly. You're right. And he also has a copy of your data.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'll give you an experience with our customer here, if you're fine with that, where we had a customer in ASEAN country who was impacted. And that's a case study today in our Cohesity website. They actually had a real journey, right? Where they're a real estate company. The whole thing, including their end-to-end systems, including endpoints, were all compromised because of ransomware, right? They had serious problems, and we'll walk you through with different kinds of ransomware. When an attack comes and land, you know, historically, if you look at 5 years ago, I like to call it as a ransomware 1.0, Brian.
Okay.
Right? It's the early version. Right.
Okay.
These are the earlier guys who used to send small rocks and stones on a customer and send a ransomware, ask you for money. Right. Very simple. The customers will ignore them or sometimes they pay, but most cases they would recover from the backup. Yes. That's ransomware 1.0. 3 years ago, during the COVID, these ransomware guys went up a level.
So this is where the colonial pipeline case is a case example.
That's right. So we call them as ransomware 2.0.
Okay.
Right? So it's an evolved version where the guys became smarter because they understood now not only the customers have production, they also have backup. Let's delete that. Right? Now it's valuable. Now your data becomes more of an important thing for you to recover.
Yes.
So that's the second. So if I delete the backup, then I delete the data, you have nowhere to go.
Correct.
That's second. Now I will talk about different kind of recovery later. But now, if you look at post-COVID, the 3.0 has evolved. There are state sponsors who actually go and spread ransomware across where they want to attack. And this 3.0 version is a double extortion. So not only they ask for, they ask you for the ransom and the money, they actually have a copy of your data.
And also, right? And you mentioned a very important thing. And this is also alludes to the evolution of cybercrime. It has become organized crime, not only organized crime, but state-sponsored crime in some instances because it's a revenue stream. It's a billion-dollar revenue stream.
Absolutely. You're nailing it, Brian. I mean, this is a massive, massive revenue stream. I had an opportunity to have a look, not that I am a hacker or anything, but of curiosity, I asked somebody to show me there are direct state sponsors which says, you want a particular company, give me the domain name, add how much of a Bitcoin do you need? You will see a result in 3 weeks' time or something like that. So that is a serious thought process we need to consider as a company.
Okay, in that case, then now, Sathish, I'm a CIO. What do I need to do to protect my business better against cyber attacks?
So good one, right, Brian? I mean, I would always think if I'm a CIO, what should I start? I should start with a security assessment. All right. A security assessment goes from endpoint all the way to your data center, end to end, everything. Now that may take a couple of weeks, but you have length and breadth of professional services people around in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Singapore. You have all the talent out there. Once you have the study done, you exactly know what levels of security that you are. Where should I make sure that I protect? Now, if I have $100, protection probably is about $80, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the most important one, Brian, which a lot of C levels forget, irrespective of how much you protect, there is a chance of a ransomware attack, right? If you see,
and also now increasingly coming through the supply chain, I may have figured out and protected myself, my organization itself, but the vulnerabilities are in my supply chain.
Absolutely. So assuming that this is possibly, it's not a question of when it would happen, if and but, that's not true. It's only a question of when it would happen, right? So given that there is an impact, how quickly can you recover your data? That is a very, very critical point. So you're looking at securing your data assets in your company and also making sure that you have an opportunity to do a rapid recovery.
Okay.
Right? So the business needs fast recovery. Can I bring back my data center in the next couple of days? Or maybe next 4 hours? Maybe you define a period. Maybe I need it in 1 hour. So how do we have a solution? And that is where that security assessment will guide you through.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. Now, this has been a great conversation. Before we leave, however, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
No, fantastic. Thank you. I'll give you a quick, because I'm from Cohesity, and I'll let you know that as a data protection and a data management vendor today, what we offer is we provide end-to-end assessment for a customer. Now, just to add on, what the solution does is, one, protecting your data, which is your most valuable asset. We have very important functions like multi-factor authentication, data encryption, which is extremely important. And you also need a technology feature, which I'll add on, which is very important, which is called the data quorum. Now, what is a quorum? Such that no single administrator, most of the thefts happen because of the admin in your office as well.
Yes.
So no single person who could delete or clean up your data set, assuming that he's unhappy. So there are different levels that you got to think, and Cohesity today is in the forefront of providing these technologies, both across in ASEAN and around the world. Adding on, this solution stretches beyond, be it on-premises, be it on the cloud or the edge. So taking the security solutions across different endpoints. And one final point I would say is also to add rapid recovery solution.
Now, on that
Right?
note, Sathish, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Really appreciate your time.
Now, we've been speaking to Sathish Murthy. He's a Systems Engineering Director at Cohesity. I'm Brian Fernandez, and you've been watching and listening to Biztech's APAC Cybersecurity Show. This conversation will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.